Welcome to Red-tastic. Story 1. My husband, 43 male, and I, 42 female, have been together for 4 years, married for 2. He's been divorced for 9 years, and unfortunately, his ex has been causing us problems from the beginning. She has done all kinds of petty, shitty things over the years, like trying to increase my husband's child support after we got married. She was shocked to find out in court that my income doesn't count towards support. She also constantly messes with the custody schedule, not returning my stepson, 13 male, on time, or making my husband drive to her place to pick him up when she could easily drive up to ours. She even criticizes my cooking, sending us meal plans for her son, as if I don't know how to feed him. It's beyond ridiculous. Honestly, I can't stand her. She's clearly jealous and petty, and I think she hates me for marrying her ex-husband. But the worst part is how she's poisoning my relationship with my stepson. She's always feeding him negative things about me, and it is starting to show in how he acts around me. He used to be more open and comfortable, but now I feel like there's a wall between us. It's breaking my heart because I've really tried to build a relationship with him, but she's constantly undercutting me and ruining the progress we've made. During the weekend, she fell down the stairs and broke her foot. She had surgery, and she's getting discharged tomorrow. She called us and demanded that I move in with her for the next 3 weeks because she won't be able to walk during that time and would need someone to attend to her. She seems to think that just because I married her ex, I somehow owe her help. Of course, I said no. I'm not about to move in with her, of all people, to take care of her, after everything she's done to make my life miserable. Now she's blowing up our phones, saying that she won't be able to get around at home, and she expects me to step up. Again, I told her it's not my problem, and thankfully my husband agrees with me 100%. I hate that she always finds new ways to insert herself into our lives and cause drama, but this is a new low. I'm standing firm, but I can't believe the audacity of this woman. How do we get her to back off for good? Update. Not much has changed since my last post. The ex, unsurprisingly, went on a rampage, blowing up both of our phones non-stop. She's been blaming me for being a bitch and calling my husband all kinds of names too. It's exhausting, but we've decided not to engage with her drama anymore. At one point, my husband told her to go screw herself. He reminded her that this was not our responsibility, and that she's driven everyone in her family away because of her toxicity. She has 5 siblings and her parents are alive, plus in good health too. Any one of them can help, but nobody wants to. Then she wanted my husband to send our stepson over so he could take care of her. My husband immediately shut that down and reminded her that it's our custody time anyway. There was no way he was going to let her manipulate their son into becoming her caregiver. Somehow, she ended up hiring a part-time caregiver. No idea how she managed that. And then she had the nerve to tell us she would send us the bill for it. My husband has ignored that. We haven't responded to any more of her messages since. For now, we're just trying to move on and enjoy our time with my stepson without her interference. Hopefully, this is the last of her drama for a while. But with her, you never know. I'm sorry you and your husband are going through this, OP. Your husband's ex sounds like a nightmare that refuses to go away. You were right to turn her down when she mentioned you coming to care for her. Injured and needing a caregiver or not, she had no right to ask or demand that from you. You don't owe her anything, and neither does your husband. The only reason why she's even still in your lives is because of your stepson. You and your husband are doing the right thing by ignoring her and refusing to do any of her bidding. I hope she doesn't succeed in manipulating her son and I really hope your family works out despite all this. Story 2. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister to stop blaming her weight gain on her pregnancy? My sister and I have been having a big fight that is tearing everyone apart. I'm feeling a bit of guilt, so I would like to know if I'm an a-hole or not. It started when my sister saw pictures of me and her husband at an event. My sister and I look very much alike. I'm younger. Her husband has to go to events for work and he asked me to go. He works with a shallow crowd and he didn't want to explain his wife's weight gain to them. My sister has gained over 100 pounds in a year. In October of last year, she got pregnant. She announced the pregnancy as soon as she got a positive test. Then they lost the baby 9 weeks later. So when my sister confronted me about going out with her husband, I was honest with her. I told her that he was a little uncomfortable with her weight gain and didn't want to set off rumors amongst his colleagues. I was just his +1 at the event and he was afraid to hurt her feelings. I have brought up her weight before and her husband's growing discomfort with it. She always dismisses it. Then she tried to make the excuse that she was pregnant and that was the reason behind her weight gain. I pointed out that she was barely pregnant and would probably have better luck if she lost a few. This started a whole firestorm of her complaining about me trying to steal her husband, blaming me for her miscarriage, etc. None of that is what I meant to do, and I've always been here ready to help if she wants to lose weight. Am I the a-hole in this situation? Edit. She gained weight way before she had a miscarriage. Nobody is reading what I said. I can't believe I have to say this, but you're the a-hole, OP. But don't worry, you've got company. Your sister's husband is also an a-hole. How can you enable and encourage this man to be ashamed of his wife for gaining weight after going through a miscarriage? Do you have any idea what that does to someone mentally, physically, and emotionally? Instead of you talking some sense into this man for being ashamed of his wife, you decided to go to a party with him and be a substitute for his wife? Her husband sucks, and you should not be taking his side on this. It's suspicious that you are, and you don't see him being in the wrong here. You're an a-hole. Now for some comments. Her husband is ashamed of her weight gain, and instead of talking to her like an adult, he conspired with you to replace her at a work event. And you, her sister, went along with it. You're the a-hole. I wonder if a miscarriage rather than being barely pregnant is a trauma that might contribute to disordered eating. Well, who cares, as long as co-workers don't see a fat wife at an event. Everyone sucks here, except sister, but you and the husband are trash. You both betrayed her. Wow, you didn't even think to tell her, run this idea by her, not just, sure, I'll pretend to be a wife even though she's right there. Nothing you did was compassionate or sisterly. News flash, she lost a baby. Maybe that depression is contributing to weight gain, but who cares about that? She's a fat whale and you've got a party to go to. Shame on you. I hope you're a troll cause this is just ridiculously callous. Story 3. Am I the a-hole for going as the best man's +1 to my sister's wedding? My sister got married today. She asked me to be her maid of honor right after she started planning and asked me if as a favor to her I could not bring a date to the wedding because she would need me. I agreed as I was single at the time. During wedding planning, I met best man, groom's friend from university, and we hit it off. My sister gave us a few thinly veiled, "Now, you two don't get too close" type statements which made us aware she didn't like us flirting. So we agreed to not start anything during the wedding to avoid issues. Last weekend, the 6 of us, bride, groom, me, best man, bridesmaid, groomsman, went on a joint stag hen do bachelor-bachelorette, which was basically everyone but me and best man drinking, as we don't drink. We booked 3 hotel rooms for us all, one for bride and groom, one for best man and groomsman, and one for me and bridesmaid. Bridesmaid then hooked up with a guy in our room. I made sure they were both sober enough to consent, and I ended up in the boys' room. Best man and I ended up sharing his bed. Nothing happened. Edit. The conversation was basically him offering to sleep on the floor and giving me the single bed because he was trying to be chivalrous. And I said it was his room, he should have the bed, I will take the floor. And eventually we agreed to share the bed. However, the following morning, we met up for brunch. Groomsman joked about me and best man sharing a bed. This was followed by everyone but my sister, ribbing us while we told them to shut up. My sister didn't say anything at the time because after the brunch was over, she pulled me aside, accused me of attention-seeking, and demoted me from maid of honor to guest. Couple days later, best man texts me and asks why I'm no longer maid of honor, as he was worried it was something he did. I tell him what happened. He asks me if I can take a date to the wedding now, and if I'll be his date. I accept. I went to the wedding today as a guest. Best man was up with bride and groom for the whole ceremony, and at the reception he spent most of the time on best man duty. But he danced with me a bit, talked to me when we sat and ate, and if someone asked me or a best man if we had a +1, we would say each other. I spoke to my sister maybe 3 times the whole day, and I only said variations on, "Congratulations on the wedding. You look amazing." But she was clearly not happy with me. It was only on getting home and turning my phone back on that I saw a bunch of texts from her basically asking what the F was I thinking, and was I trying to piss her off. I told my roommate, and she took my sister's side, basically saying that I'm a total effing idiot to go as his date after my sister booted me from the bridal party for sharing a bed with him and still thinking she would be fine with it. My roommate thinks I should apologize. Initially, I honestly didn't think it would be an issue, as I wasn't at the wedding party, but now I'm doubting that. Am I the a-hole? If I am, I'll apologize, but I don't see it as being that bad. Information: there is no romantic or sexual history between my sister and best man. I think her aversion was either me potentially being distracted from maid of honor duties or because as of today. Clarification: the bride and groom had a double bed. Me and bridesmaid and groomsman and best man had twin rooms with 2 single beds. Bridesmaid hooked up with a random guy, not groomsman, in our shared room. So I was in the boys' room sharing best man's bed while groomsman slept in his own bed. I hope that makes more sense because it was confusing to just write. Someone told me to add this here. We arrived separately, didn't have any communication during the ceremony, and at the reception we arrived separately again and referred to the other as our date in 2 scenarios. Either someone who saw us dancing directly asked if we were together and we said we were each other's date, but we weren't actually dating, which we're not as we've not been on a date yet. Or when we got hit on, which, as the best man and the sister of the bride who arrived alone, happened a few times to both of us, in which case we said we couldn't give our number to dance with someone because we were each other's dates. Now for some comments. Not the a-hole. Your sister asked you not to bring a date due to maid of honor duties and you agreed. Then she got upset for reasons unknown when you shared a bed with the best man and demoted you. Then she got upset because you had a date at the wedding, even though you no longer had any maid of honor duties. She's the a-hole all the way, especially for booting her own sister from the bridal party without even giving a real reason. Not the a-hole. And you know what? I can actually understand where the bride may have initially been coming from. You may not want the members of the bridal party hooking up pre-wedding in case there ends up being unrequited feelings involved. Someone screws someone else over, doesn't return calls, acts like an ass to the other, and causes all sorts of drama that the bride and groom have to deal with before, or God forbid on the day of the wedding. In this case, all was good. and the bride decided to make a drama where there was none on her own wedding day. Not the a-hole that she would demote you from maid of honor to mere guest over something so absurd as this says so much about her lack of character and general craziness, though it's unclear if that's a permanent condition or one brought up by temporary wedding insanity, that I don't think you should spend much more time worrying you did anything wrong. Best of luck in your new relationship. And if you and best man happen to get married yourselves someday, do yourself a favor and invite your sister as a guest, to spare her the worry of getting demoted from maid of honor if she accidentally pisses you off for some minor offense.